You wanna come here? Come here. You wanna get up here? Gotta say hi, because otherwise Dave and Olive get upset with us. Are you going for a walk? You are? You're going for a walk? Who are you going for a walk with? Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome back to Novel Idea. My name is Dia, and today I have an original tag that was created by all of the hosts for LM Montgomermy, and it is the LM MontgomerMay Tag. So I am going to jump in because there's several questions and I don't want the video to go too long. So here we go, we're jumping in. All right, so let's get into this tag. Our first prompt, or our first question is, Anne of Green Gables is an orphan who has long wished for a family of her own and a place to belong. Share a book that has a heartwarming found family element. So this is one of my favorite tropes. So I have lots to choose from, but I've narrowed it down to just two. I'm going to give you one for kind of a younger audience, and then one for more of the adult space. So the first one is The Beatrice Prophecy. This is by Kate DiCamillo, and it's about a young girl who has a sort of kind of quest that she has to go on, and makes many friends who become family along the way. The other one is a little more obvious, but it is Foster by Claire Keegan. You can tell just by the name of it that it is found family. Next prompt is Emily of New Moon is the character that LM Montgomery said was the most like herself. Which literary characters do you identify with? So I've said this several times on the channel, but Meg Murray from A Wrinkle in Time and from A Wind in the Door and Swiftly Tilting Planet. This is the Time trilogy by Madeleine L'Engle, and she has a lot of the same kind of quirks and also sort of similar home life to what I had when I was growing up. And because of that, I just really identified with a lot of the emotions and a lot of the marginalization that Meg feels in this book. So Meg Murray, and then also Mary Lennox from The Secret Garden. I didn't lose both of my parents at a young age, but I was always kind of that kid that never quite got along with other kids. I always kind of wanted to be off by myself doing something, and I understood a lot of what Mary went through in this book, and so that's another one for you. Okay, Rilla of Ingleside's story takes place during World War I. What's a major event that has taken place during your lifetime, and can you recommend a book that includes this event in some way? So I'm going to give you an event that happened in my lifetime that didn't happen in any other lifetime for the hosts. At least I don't think so, because I don't think that there's another one of the hosts that was born in the 70s. I think everybody is quite a bit younger than I am. I was born in 1970, and there are two major events that happened in the 70s when I was still pretty young. One was Watergate, and that was a presidential thing. It was a conspiracy, not a theory, an actual conspiracy. And then the other one was the bicentennial for the United States, which happened in 1976. And so I can recommend two books for this. One is All the President's Men. It's by Bob Woodward. Is it Woodward or Woodard? Might be Woodward. And someone else. And then another one is Bicentennial Man. And this is by Isaac Asimov. And it is, I think, in a bind up with a few other stories in it. And he wrote that specifically for the bicentennial. Okay, Kilmeny of the Orchard. This is our group read. Kilmeny loves to play the violin. How does music play a role in your life? Playing an instrument, songs that mean a lot to you, etc. So, I don't come from a musical family, but both my brother, who is adopted, and I were given music lessons when we were young. So I play flute, piccolo, and oboe. And I don't play any of them super well, and I haven't picked any of them up in a very long time. So I don't really consider myself a musician. However, I am married to a musician who plays drums and piano and plays them very well, but he is also quite the vocalist. And then I also have 3 children, and all of them are very musical. And all of them play instruments, all of them sing, and they write music, and my son is even a producer and creates his own like drum, I don't even know exactly how to explain it, but he does a lot of things with music. He's also a dancer. So music has always played a big role in our home, even though I myself do not really consider myself a musician. I have musicians that surround me, and I love it. I love it. I always know when something is wrong with my husband, because suddenly we stop having music around the house, and it's very odd. So, yes. Sarah is the story girl who loves to tell stories to anyone who will listen. So, can you share a short story collection that you love? I have 2, but I'm just going to give you one because I think that the other one will come up with the other hosts at some point. And so I am just going to say Ken Liu's The Paper Menagerie. It is fabulous. If you guys have not read it, I should really give you another one too. I'll just do that one. I have so many I could give you. But Ken Liu's Paper Menagerie is definitely a favorite. So I'm going to go with that one. There's not a single story in that I don't like. Pat of Silverbush. Pat is a homebody, and she loves her home and family and has no desire to ever leave them. What does home mean to you? And is there a literary home that you would love to live in? So home is more about the people to me than it is the actual building. But I'll talk mainly about the building because that specifically for Pat is the land and the building that are so special to her. So I will say that something that has some permanence to it feels like home to me. So anything that is solid and built to stay and last, that feels like home. It especially if it is not surrounded on all sides by people, but is surrounded by land, not buildings. For me, someplace feels the most like home when most of what I'm hearing is nature. And that's one of the reasons why I love LM Montgomery and her writing so much. So with that being said, one of the homes that I would love to live in is Lavender Lewis's home, which is called Echo Lodge. And it is in, I think it comes into play in the second book. Her family built the home and she has lived there her whole life. Her father lived there his whole life. Her grandfather built it. And now she is living there, and Anne and Diana just kind of stumble upon it. And here is just a little snippet of kind of the surrounding and what it feels like to be at Echo Lodge. It says, "There was a moment's stillness, and then from the woods over the river came a multitude of fairy echoes. Sweet, elusive, silvery, as if the horns of Elfland were being blown against the sunset." That's my kind of place. So I would love to live there. The other place that I would really love to live is in Miss Rumphius's home by the sea. So I don't know if you know of Miss Rumphius. This is by Barbara Cooney, and she is an author illustrator from Maine. And this is where she drew Miss Rumphius growing old, having planted all her lupins. She is the lupin lady. And right here on a hillside overlooking the ocean is her cottage. So there, that would be my other one that I would want to live in. All right, next one is Valency. Valency is the character in Blue Castle, and she longs to push past family pressures and expectations to carve out a path and to find her own happiness. What book inspired you to overcome difficulties in your life? And again, I have several. You grab these. Okay, so the first one is, no surprise, the Bible. This is my Bible that I have had since 1988, I believe. You can't even see it. But it does say 1988, Christmas 88 down here. My husband gave me this the first Christmas we were married. And so it is well loved, well used. This has inspired me immensely. I also have The Hiding Place. This is by Corrie ten Boom. This is a nonfiction about a family, a Dutch family, who are a family of watchmakers, and they are not Jewish, but because they help the Jews, or they are suspected of helping the Jews, they are taken and put into a Nazi concentration camp. And through a fluke, she is released before she is killed, along with everybody else that was taken to the camp along with her. Has inspired me in so many ways. The first one was actually that it inspired me because of her mama. Her mama was who I really wanted to grow up to be like. So that one. Another one is 1,000 Gifts. This is by Anne Voskamp. Again, another nonfiction. All three of these, wow. Nonfiction, and 1,000 Gifts is basically about finding things in your life to be grateful for and what gratefulness does to our hearts and to our outlook on life. So those are ones that I would say have inspired me. Jane of Lantern Hill desperately wants a second chance for her parents, a chance to be a part of a family where both her parents are present. What's a book that you DNF'd but connected with when you gave it a second chance? I could not think of anything. Like, I have finally finished a book after picking it up after DNFing it, but I have never like really solidly connected, I don't think. I can't think of one anyway. Anyway, so I couldn't think of one. Marigold. Magic for Marigold is one of the few Montgomery protagonists that we experience only in childhood. She's very imaginative and loves the outdoors. What were some of your favorite things to do as a child? So, I grew up on a ranch in Washington State, mainly. I wasn't born in Washington State. It was my grandparents' ranch, but the things that I remember the most loving to do were my summers that I spent with my grandparents on the ranch. And so I grew up hunting frogs at night in the irrigation ditches and the ponds that the irrigation kind of flowed into. I loved hunting frogs, climbing trees, and we had our own orchard, we had our own berry patches, we had a big vegetable garden. So I loved all of that. I loved picking grapes. I loved laying underneath the grapevines for hours at a time, just doing absolutely nothing, just staying cool in the grass, in the shade, eating grapes. And you know, we had lots of chores and things that we had to do, but it was all just so much fun. I rode horses. My grandma had these really old nightgowns that were like chiffon and silk, and she would let my cousins and I dress up in them, and we would pretend like we were fairies and run around with our little flashlights, pretending that we were will-o'-the-wisps. And I just loved childhood. I loved it. It was not the most idyllic for most of the year, but when I got to spend summers on the ranch and our little hobby farm that we had, it was just, it was idyllic. And so I gathered eggs and I milked cows and goats, and I got to slop pigs, and I got to chase chickens around to herd them up, and we went hunting in the mountains in the fall, and my grandma taught me how to make candles and how to make soap and how to can, and I just loved it. I loved being a kid, and I loved growing up. It says also, if you have a favorite childhood book that fed your imagination, please share that as well. So I have two that fed my imagination. The Borrowers by Mary Norton is one of them. And I credit this book with my love for little tiny things. To this day, anything that is teensy tiny and can be made into something else that's teensy tiny, I just love it. I cannot tell you how many Matchbox beds I made for no reason when I was growing up, and I had all kinds of fun trying to create things that I thought the Borrowers would love if they would just creep into my room and come and get them. So that one, and then the other one that I really loved, and I don't hear much about these books, is the Green No series. This is by LM Boston. It's really shiny. It's an old library copy. But Children of the Green No, Stones of the Green No, Treasure of the Green No, River of the Green No, all of those, and they're all about the same little boy who is kind of rediscovering who he is and how he fits into this family whose home is Green No. And I just loved it. It is magical. So absolutely loved that series. Aunt Becky from A Tangled Web is the matriarch of the Penhollow/Dark family, who causes quite a stir over who she will leave her prized heirloom jug to. Tell us about a book that you have read with lots of family drama. This is not my kind of book. I don't normally like to read books with a bunch of family drama in them. So the only one that I could think of that I have enjoyed that I would recommend, even just a little bit, is Little Lord Fauntleroy. And this is also by Frances Hodgson Burnett, second time that she's shown up on this tag. So Little Lord Fauntleroy is about a boy who has lost his father, and his father was one of several brothers who were born to Lord Fauntleroy. He gets called to England. They're living in America, and he gets called to England to become Lord Fauntleroy when his grandfather dies. But his grandfather doesn't want to have anything to do with his mother, and it just creates so much drama and hurt and things. But ultimately, he is the most precious little man, and he has been raised well, and he brings things together in a way that is both surprising and endearing. It's wonderful. So I would recommend that one. And then lastly, I'm supposed to tag some fellow LM Montgomery lovers. So I tried to pick ones that I didn't think maybe were going to be chosen by the other host. So Amy from Hearthridge, I am going to tag you. Jack from Spread Book Joy, I'm going to tag you. Shelly from Shelly Swearingen, because she finally read Anne and she liked it. And so I'm going to tag Shelly. And Ellie from My Cozy Chronicles, I am going to tag you, my friend. Alana from Alana Estelle. I don't know if you like Anne of Green Gables, but I feel like you would. I haven't heard you review any of Anne or LM Montgomery on your channel, but if you love LM Montgomery, I would love to see you do this tag. And Gemma from Gemma Books, even though that sounds surprising with her doing the most miserable of readathons right now, I know she loves Anne. Michelle from Books Cause Insomnia, I'm going to tag you. And Bethany from Bethany's Bookshelf, who is a newer to me booktuber. And I just want to see her do this tag as well. So I hope that all of you will do it. Okay, let's get to LM MontgomerMay and have some fun. I hope that everyone joining us is going to just absolutely love whatever it is that they have chosen to read for LM MontgomerMay. All right, everyone, that's everything from me. Like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in another video very soon.